Howdy, hi, Winslows. Welcome to this week's edition of Law of Success. Just going through, closing some things out. Hope everyone's had an incredible week. Boom. So, I'm excited to share some wisdom, drop some knowledge with you all. Going to the very beginning, the habit of saving. In dire need of a snack. Eat healthy, okay? Why do you Snickers tonight, okay? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Don't judge me, okay? Chapter 4. The habit of savings. That's my puppy in the background. He wants to go outside for his walk, okay? But after this call, I'm gonna take my baby outside. You can do it if you believe you can. All types of things chime in, making noise in the background, huh? Such a busy world we live in, huh? Everything is constantly bing, bing, ching, ching, you know? It's a lot. It's a lot. But it's a beautiful thing. I'm excited. I'm grateful to be here with you this evening for sure. I enjoyed this reading. Kit Kat. Okay, that's my last piece for the night. I just want you to know I only had two. That's Snickers and this Kit Kat. I don't own Snickers. I don't own Kit Kat. I'm not getting any kickbacks from them. If they want to hit me up, hey. But just need a little chocolate in my life tonight, y'all. A little something, something, you know? A little something, something. So, in about 2 minutes, 2.5, we're gonna kick off the call for the Law of Success, chapter 4. Excited, guys. We're 200 something pages in. There are a big book, you know. There's like 1,035. So, I mean, in all reality, we are 1/5 of the way through the book. So that's a come up. Gotta celebrate your wins, you know. I've been enjoying my reading. I've been doing good, but not great on my consistency of reading. I've been reading my Definite Chief Aim every day. I've been positively coercing the rest of my unit and my squad to get their definite chief aims to me. That's how I'm gonna say that, okay? But you know, trying to build a mastermind is not as easy as you think because you need cooperation of spirit. You need people that are just as motivated, just as driven, just as fired up as you are. And everyone's busy, but everyone's busy focusing on a lot of the wrong things. Let's just keep it real, right? Like that is TV show, cleaning their house, you know? But The real thing they need to focus on is a definite chief aim, because the truth is nothing happens unless you move towards your vision. So on that note, I'm admitting people into our group now. We got about 1 minute until we kick this off. Just FYI, okay? I got food in my mouth. Good thing we have cameras, you know what I'm saying? I can hear. Hi, Mac. Welcome to the call. You okay over there?
Hello. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Anything exciting happen?
Nothing to, no.
No. How was your late Christmas?
I wasn't able to complete my reading today.
Oh, N-word. Oh, Mookie.
Yes.
There's a bunch of N-words on my screen.
Yeah, I apologize.
Well, Ursula didn't finish hers either, so.
I'm hoping that you will give us a very good recap.
Okay, got it. God bless you, Mookie. So I'm gonna give it like 1 more minute.
Who are you waiting for?
I mean, Ursula and Justin, hopefully.
Okay.
I mean, who knows? Mookie. No.
Yeah, I got hit with a lot of family this week.
Oh. Let me give my dog a snack real quick. Hold up.
You do you.
Okay. Now leave me alone. He's over here losing his mind. So, I mean, it's the beginning of chapter 4. It was good. I'm excited about the next section.
Why is that?
Because he goes actually into like how to break down the savings. Like he goes into the actual like this much goes to this, the allocations of your funds.
Okay.
So this chapter pretty much covered limitations of building through habit. Like a lot of people, they don't have the intent. So because they don't have the intent, and they're spending everywhere, so they set up a lot of limitations for themselves as far as like their earning capacity, what they can do. He pretty much says the formation of the habit of savings does not mean that you should limit your earning capacity. It means the opposite. You should apply the law so that you not only conserve what you do earn in a systematic manner, but it also places you in a way greater opportunity to give you vision, self-confidence, imagination, enthusiasm, initiative, and leadership to accurately increase your earning capacity.
Ah.
Talks about the definite chief aim and how money goes into that for saving towards your definite. So it's like your motivation. It's that we're all victims of our habits. I think that's incredibly true.
Okay.
Would you agree or no?
On which part?
Are we victims of our habits?
Yeah, of course. If you have bad habits, they usually consume you, and you can tell people right away sometimes when they have bad habits. And then when people have good habits, you can usually tell right away, unless they're dumb lucky.
That's true. Yeah, like if people work.
That's true. Come on, people that you, I don't want to say envy or you get that slight jealousy. You can usually they have very good habits, and then what you do is like you try to learn from those habits that they do that you don't do, so you can assimilate.
I would agree. Yeah. I mean, I think even
unless they won the lotto or something.
Being in good shape, right, is a habit, right? Like eating well.
Yeah, people who work out, That's a good example. When you see somebody who's in shape, you know that they have good habits or that they are consistent with their gym or eating habits. You know that they don't eat like a slob.
True. And
Yeah.
that, it goes also to what he talks about self-confidence too. Like, we talked previously, people that are overweight. I'm sure there's a couple people, very few, that are like, oh my God, I love my body. Very few. I know everyone, is on this whole movement, that's like, love yourself the way you are. And there's nothing wrong with that. You should love yourself where you are in your journey, but that doesn't mean you don't continue.
You improve.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but also too, there's some people who you might envy their body, but they still find something wrong with it.
And no, I understand that. But I'm talking about like being obese. I'm not talking about like, oh, this person has like nice legs. You know what I mean? Like there's always going to be things that we want to improve. I don't think finish ever is. Like there's always going to be improvements no matter how good you are. But if you're drastically out of shape, I mean, that's obviously going to take a hit on your self-confidence.
Okay, so let me. Okay, I agree. But
like I said, there are.
I think once you're at I mean, I agree to you to the point. But once you hit like 10% body fat, I don't think you can get any better than that.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you may not be able to get better than 10% body fat, but maybe there are different attributes that you want to accentuate. Like if you want to have bigger legs, maybe, or you want to build a bigger upper body, right? Like, or you want to work on your diet more. Like it doesn't necessarily, like that's only one aspect of working out. Like maybe your physical physique is not just the pinnacle of your health journey. Like maybe you want to be a trainer on top of that. So I think there's always room for growth in that area still, right? Like maybe you want to go all organic, right? Maybe you go vegan, right? Maybe you experiment with intermittent fasting. Maybe you fast completely. You know what I mean? I've known people that have fasted for days. I used to fast. As I've gotten a little older, I feel like fasting is a little harder, but
I usually, when I'm high in my diet, I use intermittent fasting, so I don't eat my first meal until 12 or 1 o'clock, and I eat my last meal by 8 o'clock.
Okay, that's not too bad. But like, I used to fast for like 2 or 3 days. I find that hard to do now.
Ooh, that's not healthy.
I mean, it's not bad for you either, actually. If you look it up, if you fast for 5 days, it's actually really good for you, actually.
And so what do you eat during those days?
Nothing. You drink water.
And you never got low blood sugar or anything like that?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah, you can fast for a significant amount of time as long as you're drinking water. You'd actually be surprised how long the human body can go. Some people do it for spiritual purposes. I had a friend, he fasted for like 2 weeks on water. So there are people that, I mean, some people it's spiritual. The reason I consider the 5 days is because what happens to your cells, they start to die in your body. So if you have chronic pain.
What, fat cells?
Huh?
Fat cells start to die in your body?
Different cells in your body, they start to die. And like you're able to, like the 5 days, it like resets your whole body. Like there's articles on it and stuff like that you can read. It's really interesting. I was not able to make it 5 days. 2.5. I mean, you're gonna feel it. I mean, the first 2 days are the worst. After day 2, day 3 is really easy. But day 1 or day 2, you might have headaches, grogginess.
Oh yeah, your body adjusted.
Yeah. But the longer you go, usually the easier it gets. So
just like anything else in life.
Facts. Yeah. Like I was just looking at our book. We're 1/5 of the way done with the book. So I thought, well, that's impressive. I'm really proud of everybody. Kind of. But form the habit of thinking of prosperity and abundance, and very soon material evidence of this will begin to manifest itself in the nature of widened opportunities and new unexpected opportunities. So he's just saying, like, speak into existence the things that you want, focus on what you want, and you shall have. Then he also goes into the slavery of debt. He says debt is a merciless master. A fatal enemy of savings. Poverty alone is sufficient to kill off ambition, destroy self-confidence, and destroy hope. But add to it the burden of debt, and all who are victims of these two cruel taskmasters are practically doomed to failure.
That's deep, and that's so honest too.
Yeah, I think that we talked about like a lot of people don't have savings. You know what I mean? And any misfortune can throw their life into the gutter, right? And create very dire situation for them, you know? And a lot of people that don't have a fighting spirit and don't have the ability to bounce back from that, I think a lot of times they get stuck in poverty or they get stuck in failure. You know, they get so far gone that they feel buried by it. And then they just say, what's the point? You know, I think that happens to a lot of people that I think that become homeless. I think that a lot of times something has gone awry, obviously outside of mental illness. I think that's something a lot of times goes awry for someone. Like Michael told me he met this lady this past week and her daughter had gotten terminally ill and she had cancer and her daughter ended up dying. And she said she was so stricken with grief that she couldn't focus on everyday life. And she ended up becoming homeless, you know?
Wow, that's crazy.
It happens to a lot of people. You know, I met another guy downtown. His son got really sick, same kind of situation. He was an old vet. He had one of his legs amputated even. And he just fell into dismay. You know, emotional distress and being distraught can ruin you, you know? And if you don't have some type of passive or residual or family or a solid financial backing, you know, before you know it, everything can be gone, you know? So definitely a horrible master debt is. It says someone bound in slavery of debt is just as helpless as a slave who is bound by ignorance or by actual chains. It's true though. You know, I've definitely had situations where I've been indebted and definitely is not a very positive feeling. Thank God it wasn't like hundreds of thousands or not millions of dollars of debt. You know what I mean? But a lot of people, the reality is most people are slaves. I mean, everyone, like, there's a couple people that like their jobs, you know what I mean? But if they didn't have to go, they probably wouldn't, right? Like the reality is most people are slaves to debt, right? They're paying for their car they don't own. They're paying for their house they don't own. They're paying for their college, the tuition of their children. You know what I mean? Like they're paying for things every day and they're trading their life for money so they can have these things. You know what I mean? They stop working, they lose everything. And so
welcome to America.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that people don't really look at the reality of the fact that they're slaves though. You know, like they're a slave with a wage. It's really not very much different than living on a plantation. We're all renting our space, you know, unless you're able to get to the other side, which is ownership, you know, where money is working for you. And unfortunately, very few people master the game to be able to get to the opposite side of money, where money is their slave, you know. The reality is we're doing everything and anything that we can, you know, school, trades, right? Like working overtime, learning, studying, anything that we can, right? To make more, right? To be a better slave, right? So we can make more money. And hopefully one day, if you're ambitious enough to own the plantation and not just work on it, you know?
Makes sense.
Then he says there are two different types of debt. And these two are so different in nature that I will describe them here. So he says debt incurred for luxuries that become debt loss, and debt incurred in the course of professional or business trading, which represents services or merchandise that can be converted back into assets. The first.
Wait, repeat that one more time.
So the second one is debt incurred in the course of professional or business trading, which represents service or merchandise that can be converted back into an asset.
Okay.
So like if I owned a store and I bought Nikes, like I own a shoe store, I bought the latest Nikes, you know, but I had to pay up front, obviously, not just give me Nikes for free, right? So I pay $100,000 for I don't know, how much are these daggone Nike? 1,000 Nikes, let's just say. But once I sell the Nikes, I make a profit of 350,000. Then that's a good debt. You know, it's a debt incurred with the prospect of low or increasing the assets and the amount of capital that I have. So as opposed to a debt incurred, like I want a Tesla, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I really think about it, yes, I want the Tesla. I want the Tesla for a lot of reasons that are not actually beneficial. Like I want to look good. I want the feeling of the car. Now I could argue, you know, it's good for the environment and I might save some money on gas, but I already have a Prius. So that really is not an argument because I only pay like $15 to fill my whole tank. Okay. So I'm not arguing at all, right? I want to try to make that argument, but I really can't. What else could I say? Once I pay the car, I mean, the longest running Prius, or not Prius, Tesla on the road has gone to 1 million miles. So I could say, I mean, it's an investment. I'm going to have this car for a really long time. But then I say, well, how does it create income, right? What's the asset benefit? Now I could argue in real estate, looking successful will bring more clients, right? So, I mean, I guess you can weigh the pros and cons, but you have to be honest with yourself, you know? For marketing, could I use the Tesla and put my logo and put my picture on it, put all this stuff on it? I could, right? And maybe that does bring me more money, right? Because people see people that they think are successful and they want to work with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who knows, right? What's something that you want that is a luxury and possibly a dead loss, but maybe you could argue the opposite for?
Okay.
I'm asking you.
Thinking hand.
Go ahead. I'll just read the second part while you think. He says the first type of debt should be avoided. The second type may be indulged in, provided one incurs the debt using judgment and does not go beyond the bounds of reasonable limitation. The moment a person buys beyond his or her limitations, that person enters the realm of speculation. Speculation swallows more of its victims than it enters.
And remind me of the first question again.
So the question is, what's something that you wanted that's a luxury
that
really could become a dead debt or a dead loss, but maybe you could argue the opposite side?
Well, a dead one that first comes to my head, dead debt, right? Dead debt, that's the term they're using?
Yeah, like houses, cars, like things that don't create.
Yeah, the first thing that comes to my head is jewelry, but how can I argue that it can be? Okay, so I can't go with jewelry because I can't argue that.
I mean,
unless you throw insurance on the jewelry, then more than it's worth. But I don't know if that's possible anymore.
I have a friend of mine, and he bought a Chanel purse for his wife, but the purse that he bought her actually appreciates every year in value because of how rare it is. So yes, it's a debt, right? It's a luxury. But on the flip side, it also is an appreciating asset. It's like a Rolex, right? A Rolex is a debt, but a Rolex, especially if you buy the right kind of Rolex, I mean, all Rolexes appreciate, but I'm sure there are a select few that are the creme de la creme, that if you invested, whatever the price point is for a Rolex, that in 5 years, you'd be able to sell it for more than you bought it for, because it's maybe a rarity or it's a classic, you know what I mean? One of a kind, limited edition, that kind of deal.
Gotcha.
Now, if you just buy a gold ring, I mean, yeah, you could sell.
No, you got to buy something with, you buy something rare, that's different. Yeah. But you buy something that is just, average, everybody has it, and that's different. No, yeah, so jewelry, I could argue that if the jewelry is rare, as time goes on, the value goes up.
Correct. But if you're like everybody else.
Yes, and you're just buying regular diamond studs. No, but you bought diamond studs that were worn by Michelle Obama.
Correct.
Oh, there you go.
So then you need to get Michelle Obama a title or something, or you know what I mean? And become an influencer, I suppose. So
Yeah.
master the fear of poverty. To whip the fear of poverty, one must take two very definite steps if one is in debt. First, quit the habit of buying on credit and follow this by gradually paying off the debt that you have already occurred. And the second one is to create the habit of savings. He says that it is assumed that you are striving to attain financial independence. The accumulation of money is not difficult. Once you have mastered the fear of poverty and developed in its place the habit of savings. Then he says something that's a little cruel. And he says it's cruel. So I appreciate the author. I always appreciate the genuineness of the author, that when a part of the book is harsh or a little bit like, ugh, he says it like, this hurts, right? Like, this is the truth, though. Like, I'm not here to lie to you or sugarcoat it. And I respect the genuineness in that. So he says, the cold, cruel, relentless truth is that in this age of materialism, a person is no more than so many grains of sand, which may be blown hither and there by strands of wind and circumstances, unless enriched behind the power of money. So he's pretty much saying you're not shit. I mean, let's be real, right?
Yeah.
Nothing without the power of money behind your name.
Exactly.
And that's a little hurtful, you know? I mean, I think like I didn't make these rules, obviously, right? But I always hate that. You know, I genuinely I just bothers me so much that all the potential, all of the greatness of humans, right? Everything that we do is like the bottom line is the real question. It's like Rich Dad Poor Dad. He always talks about like when I go into my banker, he doesn't ask for my report card. You know, he looks at my financial statement. And based on that, that's how I move. You know what I mean? So it's like, you could be brilliant. You could be a genius. He actually covers that next. He says, genius may offer many rewards to those who possess it. But the fact still remains that genius without money with which to give its expression is but an empty honor. Stab, 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 stab. Fact, right? I mean, let's be real. Like, you know, so many people pride themselves, you know, on being intellectual. You know what I mean? Like, and it's a beautiful thing. I mean, there's so many incredible co-creative moments that you can have with intellectual energy. But unfortunately, I have an uncle of mine. I love my uncle. He's one of my favorite uncles. And he's an incredible inventor. Like, this guy is so talented, but he has no money. And, you know, he's patenting some things and but if he had the proper financial backing, he could be great. But the reality is, because he doesn't, no one knows his name. And I don't want to say no one will ever know his name, because maybe the fates change, maybe he finds a financial backer. I don't want to doom him to say that he'll never accomplish his vision. You know what I mean? So I will say, up until this moment, he has not been able to, but who knows, right? But the reality is, there are millions of people like my uncle that are talented, gifted, brilliant, inventors, creators, writers, movie directors, singers, dancers, right? Cooks, you name it. And although they are ultra talented, probably so much more so than all the people that we know their names and we've come to know them as a huge million, if not billion-dollar brands, the reality is, once again, it's an empty honor without the financial vehicles or money to make those things a reality, you know?
Makes sense.
And then he says, a person without money is at the mercy of the person who has it, regardless of the amount.
That's true. That's when you have to go. Us normal people got to go to the people with money to get loans.
Yeah, to beg.
And then they screen you, go through all your credit, your history, and you're at their mercy of saying yes.
Yeah. You have to put on your best acts, right? You gotta put on your best. I hope you're on your best behavior, because if not, you're gonna leave with a lump of coal. Which is really not funny. But it says no matter who you are.
I gotta make sure I have to make sure I do this reading, because this one is actually pretty good.
Oh. Oh.
Hey. I'm sorry I got bombarded, okay?
It's fine. Life happens. I get it. I don't have any family here, so I don't really have very many distractions, actually.
Yeah, you don't watch TV either. Yeah, I know.
Me and my puppy.
That's good. That means you already have the ingredients to be successful.
Thanks. I don't have any distractions, right?
No.
I did
just gotta get rid of the puppy now.
For 3 hours yesterday, so that was good.
You just gotta get rid of the puppy now.
That's never gonna happen. Never. This is my friend. We talk every day. Keeps me company.
You talk every day?
Yeah, I tell him my stories about my life. Your journal?
Yes. My Captain Marvel. I thought it was Captain America, but it's actually Captain Marvel, like you pointed out.
Well, I mean, it's still a winning spirit, and maybe that'll tap into some of your feminine energy.
I don't have any of that.
You should. Everyone should. It's good to have a yin and a yang inside of ourselves.
Is it only just us on the call right now?
Yes.
No. Oh, you recorded. My fault.
All right. Someone's gonna find these one day and we're gonna be in trouble because we said bad words.
No, I'm trying to keep the channel professional.
Me too. Minus what I said in the beginning.
Yeah. And all right, continue on. What else was in this chapter? Actually, very curious. Go ahead.
Okay, so he says, regardless of the amount, the ability one possesses, the training that they have, or the naive genius or natural genius, there is no escaping from the fact that people will weigh you very largely in the light of your bank balance, no matter who you are or what you can do. The first question that arises in the minds of most people when they meet a stranger is, how much money does he or she have? If you
That's true, money, people. When you first meet people, usually the first thing you do is try to figure out what they do for a living.
True. And it says, if you have money, they will welcome you into their homes, and their business opportunities and business opportunities are thrown your way. All sorts of attention is lavished on you. They are entitled. They are entitled to the best of the land. So it's like people will treat you like gold, because obviously the reality is they want something. They want what you have, your money. It says these are not pretty statements, but they do have one virtue. They are true. This tendency to judge people by their money they have, or the power to control money, is not confined to any one class of people. We all have a touch of it, whether we recognize it or not. Likewise, savings accounts are essential to success on the part of the individual. Without savings, funds of the individual suffer in two ways. First, by the inability to seize opportunities that come only to a person with ready cash. And second, by embarrassment due to some unexpected emergency calling for cash. It might also be said that the individual suffers is still a third way, respected by developing the savings of habit, and that is through the lack of certainty of other qualities of essentials for success, which grow out of the practice of the habit of savings. So he's saying that pretty much you won't be able to invest or get into things that you want to because you won't have the money available. And secondly, you'll be embarrassed when, let's just say, you get a flat tire and you can't pay for it, or your kids want to take a trip somewhere, and because you don't have any savings, you can't send them, but everyone else's kids are going, let's just say. So now your kid is kind of like ridiculed because they can't go. So you're embarrassed, right? And you have friends. And I mean, the reality is people shouldn't judge us, right? Like, let's just be honest. But they do. So it doesn't make a difference. we can sit here and be like, oh, that's not nice of their friends, but. And then it says nickels and dimes and pennies. That is the average person allows to slip through their fingers would, if systematically saved and properly put to work, eventually bring them financial independence. You know, I was actually talking to Michael about this week. I have I pay renter's insurance here. And this month my renter's insurance came out and I normally only pay $17. But I looked at my bank account and I paid $32. So tomorrow people will say, oh, no big deal. No, F that.
Because they're gonna probably hit you with $32 again. Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't agree from 17, like you almost doubled it. Like, you know what I mean? So
I would do that too.
And if they don't fix it, I'm gonna take it through my car insurance company. I go through Mutual.
I get mine through State Farm.
Oh, do you?
Mm-hmm.
But it's just those little things. You know what I mean? Or like I got a random charge from GoDaddy.com for like another $23.99, and I didn't purchase anything. So I'm like,
I don't like recurring. It can be $1, $2. This is recurring. I'm gonna go tackle that.
Well, I don't even know where it's recurring from though. Like I knew I bought something, but what I bought was only $12.99. So I can't figure out why they charged me $23.99. So I want to call them and just see, because I looked at, they have like a record of like what you've ordered and like your receipts, and I don't have a receipt for that. So I don't see where this charge came from, and I don't have anything that's reoccurring for that price point at all. So I'm going to call them tomorrow, because maybe someone used who knows, right? There's a lot of hackers out there. I don't know. Maybe someone used my account. Either way, I want to find out what it is. So if it is something that's reoccurring and I'm not using, I can cut it off. But it's just crazy how many things come out of our account and how many random fees, $3 here, $1 here, $5 here. Like people have no idea how much they're bleeding. If they just like took the time to actually look at their bank statements and look at their accounts, like they would realize there's so many things that I just cut my Fitbit thing off. I was paying $10 a month for something for Fitbit, and I don't even know what the hell it was, right? So I'm like, why am I paying this? Now, some people says, oh, it's only $10, but it's not the $10. It's $10 and $1 and $5 and $3. Yeah, it bleeds you. So I think that what he's talking about here with nickels, dimes, and pennies is like the average person is so like, they're just fucking, they're just swiping their card here, there.
One thing I learned is that when I first got like my job back when I was 29, like 27, 28, I got a big time job, started making a lot of money, right? Mm-hmm. And then I noticed it's like, if you don't count, like through weeks, I went through a bank review and I realized, hey, I'm spending a lot of money here. Mm-hmm. I feel like I was spending $600 a month on food for eating out and stuff like that, and all these other purchases. And I realized, yo, man, is you don't tighten up or you don't track this stuff, you overspend.
It literally runs right through your fingers.
Exactly. And it doesn't matter how much money you have, you don't track, it goes. You can have $1 million.
Correct.
And it just keep dripping. So it's always
all you're thinking is, oh, I have $1 million. I'm fine. Exactly. I can buy that. Oh, I can buy that. I could buy until you swipe so many times.
Whatever you think you have, that means your spending is higher or it's in proportion of it. So if you by the time you realize you're spending too much or the money's gone or going, you're already like at a certain balance. Then like, uh-oh.
Yeah, so it's very too late.
Mm-hmm.
Very important. People, when they get money, like the first thing they think is, where can I spend it?
That's true. Listen, let's be honest here. If I got $1 million in my hand, $900,000 is going right into the savings, and I'm gonna figure that out. $100,000 go in my checking to go, woo! Well, not maybe 100,000, but like at least 30.
I feel like 100,000 is fair. I mean, yeah, as long as you don't make that a recurring habit.
And I won't be tracking that 100,000.
I mean, I would probably still track my 100,000, but
I'll just be putting it in there, just woo, woo, woo. You want to swipe? Woo, woo, woo. And then, but once that 100,000 is gone,
okay,
or low,
I want to try to stretch my 100,000. Like, I don't want to spend it all. I mean, I feel like I would want to I want to have time with it. I want to have time to think about
But listen, you don't have to. You don't have to. What's that word? Why
Just saying. I would want to like, you know, really like, I have this thing. I like to like, I have like this thing that makes me happier than spending the money. And it's logging in and seeing the money and then logging out and then logging back in and seeing the money and then logging back out. Like something about that.
I love logging in my bank account sometimes and just seeing the balance. Yes, I know you're talking.
It's just
you don't have to have foreplay with the 100,000, you know.
that's how I work. That's how I eat my food even, okay? It just makes the experience more delectable for me, okay?
Gotcha.
Don't hate on my fantasies, okay? Okay, so these figures are startling when one considers that the average person spends $5 to $50 a month on useless merchandise and so-called entertainment. That makes the savings of money. The making and savings of money is a science. Yet the rules by which money is accumulated are so simple that anyone may follow them. The main prerequisite is the willingness to subordinate the present to the future by eliminating unnecessary expenditures for luxuries.
Ooh.
I think I do okay. I'm not gonna sit here. I think I used to be better at that. But I will say I do wise things, like I do meal prep. I could buy out food every day, right? But in my mind, I think it's wasteful. And like I said, I meal prep for the whole week. Yesterday is the only day I went outside of my meal prep because my best friend and I went to get sushi yesterday.
It's very important. It's very important to go out too sometimes.
Yeah, as long as it's within moderation.
Yes, exactly.
So I went out with my best friend and I bought the CBD stuff and we got pedicures yesterday. So that was nice.
That's always
yeah. So I mean, but other than that, this week literally I have not bought food out the whole week. Like that was the only time this week I bought anything out of like, but I also spent $160 on groceries when I went.
I was joking on that last part. Of course, you got to go out and treat yourself once in a while. That's healthy. Good. Continue.
So I mean, and I feel like I bought a bunch of like really bomb stuff, and I mean, so I feel like there's a balance. I don't want to be Scrooge. I don't want to be like holding on to my pennies until I'm 80. I'm like 80 years old, I'm gonna have a good life. You know what I mean? Because the reality is, I may not make it to 80. God's will, of course. Inshallah, I hope I make it to 80 beyond. But if I don't, some people hoard money, and they're like, "Oh, I'm just keeping it," and then they never even get to enjoy it because they die. It's like the person that's waiting for retirement. It's like you may never make it to retirement. So yes, save, but also take a trip a year, right? Like go on a dream trip with your wife. I mean, don't become so frugal that you're not enjoying the day.
That's true. You gotta live in the moment sometimes, but also too, you gotta make sure you're planning for the future. Yes,
I think that's a good balance. You don't want to live, and I've been guilty of living only in my future sometimes and not being present in my moment. So I would say you definitely have to be present in your moment. Enjoy the time you have with the people that are around you, because you never know when they won't be there or when you won't be there. But you also should have a plan in place to set yourself up for success and wins in the future. And then he says the habit of saving requires more force of character than most people have developed, because savings means self-denial and sacrifice of amusements and pleasures in scores of different ways. For this very reason, one who develops the habit of savings acquires at the same time many of the other needed habits that lead to success, especially self-control, self-confidence, courage, poise, and freedom from fear. And those are the end of my notes on this section. Do you have anything that you'd like to add?
I wish I did. But next week when I complete my reading, I will have a lot more to say.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate your honesty. It's always appreciated above all else. We're going to read into, I'm obviously going to take a picture of it. We're going to read into opportunities that may come to those who have saved money. I have one opportunity that always pisses me off, that if I had just had money set aside would have been a game changer. Always breaks.
What's that?
It was a stock that I should have bought, and I could have made a lot of money, and I didn't. So, because I didn't have the capital available to do the transaction at the time. I had broken up with someone, I moved into a new place and depleted all my resources, and opportunity came. And unfortunately, that opportunity ended up costing me over $100,000 in lost income. So,
Please explain.
well, I should have bought this stock. I knew when to buy it, and I didn't have
Details. Do you remember what stock?
Oh no, it was ages ago.
Okay.
And shot through the roof like I thought it would, and fortunately, because of lack of capital,
You missed out. You missed the money train.
yes, definitely could have changed the trajectory of the next couple of years of my life significantly.
It could have moved the timeline up.
Significantly, incrementally, ridiculously. So, yes.
Well, yeah, I've been in. Well, keep in mind, you could have just as easily put the money in and lost it, or
that's true. But I did put the money in later and did lose it. So I lost both ways.
Well, I already told you why I hate Trump to the core, because I bought AMD at $3 and went up to $30. I was up in the morning, money. He starts his trade war, goes down to 25. I'm like, stock goes up and down. You got to hold for the long ride. It went down to, I still holding. It went down to 6. Well, I sold half. I sold half at 25. Went down to 16, and then I'm like, yo, I gotta dump this. This thing is just going down. So went from 32 to $16. I think I had balls to steal, but at $16, I was like, yo, I just gotta go, because everything was just kept on going down. Sold, went down to $15.90. Boom, started recovering. Now that stock is $100 today. And you know how many shares I had of that stock? 10,000 shares.
Wow.
Of that. So if I held on to it, I was planning on holding on to it for another 5 years. That was supposed to be my money. That was supposed to be my buy a house in cash fund. And now it's $100. I would have been 600, 700 grand in the money.
Wow.
So yeah, so the point of the story is
that stock going to continue to go up, or do you think it is stable?
But now I can't buy 10,000 shares of it.
That's true. Right. I mean, you can, hopefully in the very near future. I'm just saying.
Nah, that's too long. So right now, what I have to do is find another stock like that where it's lower. I can buy another 10,000 shares and wait it to go up. For long term. That's long term, and then my intraday trading. So I have a long term account and I have an intraday. So long term, I put money, hold, forget about it, and then my other money, I use that intraday to trade and hold on to and make profits off of. So I got money coming in there, and I got money going in long term. So hopefully they both go up. But anyway,
inshallah.
So that's the goal. But yeah, the point of the story is, don't cry over spilt milk.
Yeah. But don't let the milk spill again is the real moral of the story. Learn your lesson from the fact that you took an L. You know, a lot of people take the L and don't learn, and they're doomed to repeat the L over and over again.
Learn from their mistakes, and they are doomed to repeat them.
Yeah, and I don't want to tell the story twice, because it'll be double painful. Next time I'm prepared to make the move when it comes.
Build the confidence. Yes. Yes.
Whether I lose, then at least I want to be in the game. Not being in the game means I have no shot.
It looks like you're in a jungle right now.
I am the jungle, okay?
Whatever.
You know, born in the wild. I'm just kidding. You know, I love this jungle theme. I'm an addict for the jungle. You know, I told you Costa Rica is where my soul is. Even though I haven't been, I know I belong there. when I never retire, which I'm never retiring, because when you love what you do, you never actually retire. But when I get a chance to take months alone and go somewhere, it probably will be Costa Rica in the jungle somewhere.
Costa Rica.
Yeah. Eating fruit, mangoes off the tree, living the life. Writing books as the river runs by, wild cheetahs and pandas. I don't think they're in Costa Rica, but that's not the point here. Definitely there's Black Panthers, okay? So a Black Panther, and I'm gonna have a pet monkey. I might have a couple of teaching how to make me breakfast or something,
What are you, Ross friends?
I just always thought it'd be cool to have a monkey, maybe I learn how to sign with it and stuff, I tell him, hungry, make me drink.
I thought they were cute too, until this lady owned a monkey and it ripped the figure of her face too. You can't even recognize who she is.
Are you serious?
Because she didn't want to give him a treat. It's a wild animal. But then again, in fairness, it was a chimpanzee. So
oh yeah, I'm not getting a big monkey. Getting a little, I like little monkeys.
Those little monkeys, they still got the same things those chimpanzees have.
I mean, no animal cruelty on our page, okay? We do not believe in violence towards animals, only if they hit first. I just want to throw it out there. I don't need any PETA issues in the future.
Yeah, we don't need those issues ahead.
So we've cursed, and now we've offended PETA. Our careers are really over right now, okay?
Forget about it. Forget about it.
Well, hopefully you work on your definite chief aim. Yeah.
I'm on it. I'm so sore. It's in my Captain America.
No one has completed it. I mean, the one gentleman completed his.
Oh, what gentleman?
Justin.
I don't even. Okay, Justin, got it.
The gentleman that's military.
Is he gonna come on and share it?
He was on. He was on the week you were off.
Well, I had these 2 weeks. Okay, so next week we're back on it.
Yeah. His definite chief aim was good. It needs some work. It's not completed. But it's hard to tell someone that, you know what I mean? Because he's like, oh, this is my definite chief aim. Like, it's a good start, but it's not really like, I'm not close enough to him, I feel like, to like have that conversation. So
gotcha.
Yeah. So maybe I might ask Michael to text him, because Michael's actually his friend, And Michael's sent me his definite chief aim tonight because he told me his was done. And no definite chief aim yet. So still waiting. You guys are slacking. Get this done.
Put a reminder in the chat, and let's go from there.
Okay. Yeah, you should call Ursula out. Say, hey, Ursula, what happened to you on the call, bro? We missed you.
Hey, how am I gonna hit her? Because I was on the call last week, so.
Yeah, but you told me you weren't gonna be on the call. She didn't tell me she wasn't gonna be. And she texted me, oh, I didn't do my reading.
No. Well,
you didn't hear.
I'm getting in that. Not getting involved.
Uh-huh. Well, I love you guys very much.
love you guys and me guys. What's up with the plural? There's nobody else on the call.
Hey, I'm talking to my audience right now. Don't interrupt us. Thank you guys for tuning in with the law of success, where we're making dreams come true. I hope this was entertaining. I hope that you took some value from this, more importantly, and I hope that you're going to create the habit of savings for yourself and your family, because if you don't do it, no one will. And if you don't do it and you end up in dire straits, let me tell you who cares. Nobody. Because the reality is, yes, you probably got people in your life that care about you. Excuse me?
Unless you got a rich dad.
Yeah, well, in that case, you're probably not practicing the law of savings, even though you probably still should. Self-preservation is the first law of nature if you don't take care of yourself.
Okay.
And you can't be sorry for the results that come thereafter. So I'm wishing nothing but greatness, happiness, joy, peace, and prosperity to you and your family. Me and Mac will be back next week, the same back channel, hopefully with the rest of our squad up. And if not, who cares? Because this is the truth. I'm going to plug in every week, alone or not, hopefully not alone, But if you have to be alone
I'll
in
be
the
honest.
journey, it's okay. Because one day you won't be
Well,
alone.
you can always record. You always record, and then people can catch up.
Yes, I do. I just have to post this. So, with that being said, we'll be back on the same Bat channel next week.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
Vibrate during the call.
Yeah. Okay. I love everybody.
All right.
Night,
Later.
night.
Have a good night.
You too. If I can figure out how to get off. Bye. I figured out how to end the meeting. Wink, wink. I got this, guys.